What up, my freaks? RuinousInsight here with part 11 of my Total Warhammer 3 modded Arkhan the Black campaign. So as we saw last time, we destroyed Cetra's faction for good and showed off the power of the Eyes of the Desert, who were our ringers and the heroes of the show last time. And we did then put them into the ranged army, or actually specifically, I took some time off screen to join all the armies together and put all the units where they need to be, mostly because I didn't want to waste like 15 minutes deliberating on screen about who's gonna go where. In that light, what I've done is put the Tomb Guard into Arkhan's army, because he's going to be fighting the elite-most stuff throughout the campaign. He's gonna need them for now until he gets something better. King Sanakht, our ranged army, now has the Blessed Legion and the Eyes of the Desert, both of which are obviously ranged units, and both are Asaph units from Worship of Asaph, though we don't have that as yet. King Araruk has our 2 units of Ushabti, and lastly King Jocht has our Direwolves and our Fellbats. He'll be using more vampiric units as well, so we'll see about that. I haven't figured out which ones we're gonna go with as yet, because we may want to put some Karen Wraiths into Arkhan's army for now, and we do have limited numbers of them, but we'll see. Arkhan probably isn't going to want to use both ghouls and ghostly units. And I feel like maybe the ghouls will eventually be transferred either to Jocht or to somebody else. Or I may revive another concept lord from my previous time doing Arkhan. I did a ghoul army back then, and I believe it was led by Wakaf of the First Dynasty, although now he has range for the Lord's army. Maybe we'll do something else with him. We'll see what other buffs he has in his tree, and we'll see about transferring the ghouls to somebody else, possibly, depending on who does what. Anyway, in terms of what we gotta do this turn, I don't believe there's anything since I moved these guys around, with the exception of potentially building. Our goal this episode is to hunt down Skarbrand, so that's absolutely what we're going to do, but we need to start collecting income. Our growth is done. I mean, it's not really done, but we can't do it anymore. And the reason for that is the fact that we now have all of these pyramids available to us. Khemri and Numas about to be, Qatar, and Zandri. So that's 4 pyramids alone. It's actually 5 if we count the Black Tower of Arkhan, but that's a tier 4 pyramid. Or actually it's a tower, not a pyramid, but yeah. We got 4 pyramids, each one of which costs 12k money, so we're gonna need 50,000 gold to build those, plus the gold for the Black Tower of Arkhan, plus the gold for the Kofar Harbor, and then whenever we get around to building the Black Pyramid of Nagash, the Vault of Nagash, and the Lost Tombs here in the Great Desert of Araby. So in short, we need like 80,000 gold, and we ain't gonna get it by only collecting like 1,000 gold a turn. So everybody's turning collect and come back on, and we're switching to Worship of Asaph when we don't need to build stuff. So here we go. You collect income. We are going to upgrade stuff next turn, so we'll switch to the construction reduction. Same here next turn. And, oh wow, minus 10 for only 150. Okay, this one might not be worth it. We'll keep this one as it is. What about Black Tower of Arkhan? You can collect income. We can also upgrade something next turn as well. Damn, everything's being upgraded at the same time. And El Kalabad, while we're here, let's get you those blood pools. We'll need the public order. In terms of what we have left that we're collecting here, Atalan Mountains, you can't collect stuff because you're going to go too negative and then cause us problems faction-wide. We can't have the control reduction right now. Alrighty, that's fine. We'll have a control swing relatively shortly. Rakash of the Second Dynasty gives us +2 control, Wisdom of the Second Dynasty gives us +1, and then eventually, when we get the Architecture of the White Palace, that's another +2 as well. So +5 will be a pretty big difference, and will essentially make up for Worship of Asaph, or when together will put us into the green. Alrighty, now, before we end the turn, let's do some diplomacy. What do we have here? Karak Azul, do we care about this? More likely than not, we'll be fighting all the orcs, but how much money will they give us for this? 505? I don't think we care about that. What about trade agreements? Nope, nope. A defensive alliance with the Barrow Legion. there may be reason to do this. I wonder. And the problem with this is it'll probably reveal all these factions up here, and none of them are likely to be friendly either. So it'll get Reichland... Well, oh, you're also fighting Musion. Okay, so I guess we're not allying with Musion either. Alright, and do we do the defensive lines? Do we wait for them to get weaker? We do want them to survive, so this could power them up. Let's see what else we have available to us first. The Dread Fleet is available for a military alliance, but we can do this at pretty much any time, because they'll always be friendly, and they'll always be overwhelmed by the factions they're at war with. So we don't have to do this until we need the money for Sudden Pyramid. Become Vassal we don't have, and ooh. Alright, that's not bad. Alright, 11 will give us 2.6k. Yeah, let's peace out. Peace out with the Bleak Hold. Screw it. It's too much money to maintain just for a little bit of extra relationship with the Dread Fleet here, and really it isn't all that much either way. The Barrel Legion is the only thing that I'm not entirely sure about. We could absolutely do it, and it'll probably make both us and them stronger. It'll make us stronger and them stronger by virtue of the AI thinking that we're allied, so it'll be less likely to declare war. On the other hand, once again, a bunch of factions are fighting them already. I could also wait on this and maybe try to get more money, but if they don't get considerably weaker, that's not gonna happen. Our relationship with them is rising, though. You know what, we'll do the same thing that we did with the Dread Fleet. Either they get weaker, and we do it, or we wait. The relationship will increase over time anyway. Alrighty, and I believe that is that. So, we're going to skip the rest of this, and we are going to go to next turn. If you're wondering why I'm not building stuff in Qatar, it's because once we take Numas, we will have the entire territory to ourselves. I guess, you know what, just in case, let's build the Desert Lookout. We can build other stuff after. Mostly because we just need the place defended, and it's we're not going to be near it, and the dwarves could jump over here at any time. I also have Tic-Tac-Toe down here, so we'll probably need to send somebody to the Springs of Eternal Life, but we shall do so a little bit later. I think everybody else is good. Stay together and get ready to move. Now let's hope that... Oh, I forgot to move Itabam. Okay, Itabam's obviously continuing to move north to try to find Vladdy Daddy. We should get a very decent amount of allegiance with him, and it's unlikely that Vlad will die. I'm reasonably sure he pretty much always survives if the player doesn't interfere in some way. And we will be eventually weakening factions that he would be fighting, so we should be able to help him out, and he should be able to help us out by giving us access to those vampire units. Especially since we'll probably have to betray Manny for Kasabar. Alrighty, Gorfang Rotgut, who are you and what do you want? You want a war. Completely randomly. You're all the way up here, why? What the heck? I don't get you factions sometimes, but sure. Go for it, buddy, go for it. All he'll end up doing is making factions that we're currently fighting, or that we're currently in an alliance with friendlier to us by virtue of everybody fighting the same stuff. And oh, wow. We've got a rebellion here. Nice. Well, not we, but to the pirates, but still. Nice. King Oyas is ready for duty, a brutal business. Alrighty, well. I was about to say let's go for Skarbrand, but if it isn't Malagor, with a giant and a feral manticore in tow, as well as a Gorbel, well, that seems like something we should be going after. So Arkhan, I guess that's what you'll be doing in a few seconds. Let us first figure out who else is going to go where. First of all, King Sanakt. You are our ranged army, and I think you would be a very good army to have as a backup, especially in sieges. So what we're going to do is we're going to move you, or start moving you, towards Skarbrand. We will have you and Arkhan go after Skarbrand together. Then, Jocht and Araru. Now, Araru's army isn't maxed out, so he'll be recruiting. Which means I think that we'll send him to Numas and take this. What do we have in terms of garrison here, incidentally? Not much. Yeah, we can auto-resolve that. Those units are too weak, and I'd rather fight Skarbrand. We'll occupy the place. 355, not bad. Wound recovery and corruption, and there we go. Land of the Dead is complete, which will give us access to Worship of Tra and the extra campaign movement range. Speaking of campaign movement range, though, we are also going to get you a brief Charnel Plaza for the extra campaign movement range while everybody's still in this province. We'll delete it after, but it costs so little that there's no reason not to do this, especially as we'll get the money back. We're also going to get either blood pools or growth here. As to which one, I'm going to go with growth. They're both going to get deleted shortly anyway. But we don't need the blood pools because once again this guy's here and he's going to be here for at least 2 more turns. Alright, ooh. And we could recruit a ghoul into this army, or a dire doggo. We do have space now. Or bats. Nah, but then again, what would we replace with? I mean, I guess we don't need all of these skeleton archers. Too bad that the Cairn Race take 4 turns to recruit at this rate. It's a little bit much. I think we'll get rid of one of the skeleton archers and we replace it with a ghoul. Like so. We don't have to necessarily keep the ghoul in this army, but we can keep it in another one. King Jokt, we're gonna move you out to the Springs of Eternal Life. We should be in range of it. I think, by the looks of it anyway. Can't quite tell. Can Tic-Tac-Toe hit this? Maybe. Oh, but he's attacking Bagar, so he'll probably fail to do so anyway. Why can't I see the... There's supposed to be like a little circle. Oh, is it underground? Is it underground so we can't see exactly where it is? Well, I'm just gonna hope that he's in range. If he's not, then he's not. Otherwise, let's do the buildings and then let's have Arkhan attack Malagor. Hopefully Malagor doesn't run, as that will be a waste of our time. Now, in terms of what we're upgrading here, I think we're gonna start with Zandri. A, because there's a pyramid to build, and B, because there's a harbor as well, which will increase growth and money, and reduce construction cost. So, yeah. And definitely something to do there. We are going to switch you back to Worship of Asaph, all while we're collecting income. Same with you. You're going to upgrade Lashik, and then go to Worship of Asaph. You are going to upgrade the Great Desert of Araby, and you're going to go into Worship of Asaph. And lastly, you are going to upgrade, I guess, Al-Haik, because it also has a harbor, and guess what you're going to worship? It's Asaph. There we go. Alrighty, now, wow, we can't believe we spent every single penny we had. Ugh, it's gonna be a toughie getting that, getting all that money, that 80k or so that we need. We're at 2.7 now in terms of the defensive alliance. 1,000 gold, not bad. We could wait for it to continue rising though. I'm sure they'll lose an army and maybe even a settlement or two. Alright, well, for now, let's have Arkhan hit Malagor. We'll deal with the diplomacy and stuff again afterwards. Please don't run, Malagor. You are not gonna run. Beautiful. Close victory with medium casualties, apparently. He's in Ruination stance, which does nothing for him in terms of field battles. And Bestial Rage is not something that we have to concern ourselves with. Alrighty, here we go. We gotta be a little bit careful about a few of these units, namely the Giants, the Manticore, Malagor, and the Gorbel. And possibly the Harpies as well. They do quite a bit of damage and do cause bleed. And got some nice buffs on them as well. Alrighty, looks like a fun time. I wasn't expecting to fight Beastmen this early, so it's a nice surprise.
My command.
Alrighty, here we go, the Beastmen. Quite a different type of army than what we have been facing off against so far, so should be pretty interesting. Obviously, we're going to begin by bombarding the enemy and summoning a bunch of zombies and skeleton warriors to get in their way. with Arkhan so that they're distracted and they continue taking damage from our artillery pieces. The rest of our artillery piece, rather. The rest of our army is deployed up on this hill where they will wait for the enemy to come to them, while we do move around in the background with our faster units, our dire wolves and our ghouls. I'm gonna have to watch out for that giant feral manticore. Don't want it dropping in on our corpse cart or our casket of souls, so we'll just keep the tomb prince here with the main line rather than moving him out as we usually do. The Hexrites are also going to move around. They're going to hit this unit of Ungor raiders who are completely unprotected as the enemy is distracted by all those zombies. Giant is slowly moving in with his pile of Ungors and Gors, but is still far too far from the rest of our main army to do anything. Alrighty, there we go. The Hexrites, the Hat Rates, are in, and they are going to destroy those hatless Ungors. Alrighty, and these zombies are still doing a great job holding these guys back, mostly because every few seconds the Casket of Souls drops another hit on this massive pile of units. Cue Casket of Souls before they move, please. There we go. Ah, the bats lifted off, or the harpies lifted off just as I said that. Oh well, what can you do? It looks like the giant is nearing our main line and the manticore has dropped in, but both our Kepra guard and our tomb prince together should be able to knock this thing out. It's at half HP already. Over on the side, the enemy tried to get a unit of Beastmen warhounds around us, but 2 units of ghouls and 2 units of direwolves absolutely ripped them apart. Otherwise, the other units of direwolves are going to begin chasing the enemy units that are routing, and the ghouls are going to help out and do pretty much the same. Alrighty, let's see the Kepra guard and our tomb prince get the manticore a few times. And it looks like the manticore tried to move away. The giant is also now wading in to our, looking like shooting stars there and dropping right into a massive blob of units. And I look away for a second and the giant feral manticore and gets pretty much wrecked by the tomb prince. Very nice. Obviously, Arkhan is still in the center of the fray together with his necrotect, and they're just smacking the enemy around as best they can, but also mostly just summoning units here so that the bombardment via our Casket of Souls can continue. Malagor still just flying around, has not yet dropped to the ground, unfortunately, and mostly unfortunately because it's going to be difficult to kill him if he routs by virtue of not having to fight. Alrighty, and now it's time to summon our Ushabti who are on the field and where the enemy is strongest, but also to surround their Minotaur here, or their Agorbol rather. And once they surround him, he's not going to be able to contribute to the fight elsewhere, and obviously the Casket of Souls isn't all that threatening to our own Ushabti, so the bombardment can continue. Though it doesn't need to for too much longer. By the looks of it, the enemy army is already in very bad shape, and we're destroying it quite quickly. The giant is still alive, but the Usirian's Legion are now helping out against it, and without magic damage, giant's gonna have trouble with it. Corpse Guard is also buffing everybody up, so the Usirian's Legion's got 68 melee attack. Quite nice. And of course our Tomb Prince is moving in after having hunted down that Manticore, and will do the same to the giant, who looks like he wants to run away. In fact, most of the rest of the enemy forces are running away. Malagor is still fighting together with his Gorbel, but the Gorbel's at half HP and surrounded by those Ushabti, who are just wrecking it. And there we go, another unit trying to escape, and I believe it's just the Lord and the Hero left. Everybody else is just being chased down by our piles of fast movers. Giant's done for, and as soon as the as soon as the Gorbel routes, I'm willing to bet that Malagor will as well. And he still hasn't landed though. Knocking down a Ushabti. Their damn Gorbels are huge. They're bigger than the Ushabti are. Actually, significantly bigger. Alrighty, and it looks like he's getting a few of those Ushabti, but he is now down to about a quarter of his HP, and the summoned Ushabti still have 18 units. Those Kopeshes slowly but surely bleeding the Gorbel dry. And there we go, a couple more hits, and he should rout. Or otherwise die if he's fighting to the end here. And no, he's going to rout, and he gets knocked over. There we go. And as soon as the Gorbel is done, Malagor is done watching and is simply going to glide away. You could have at least dropped down and fought a little bit, man. Just a little bit. Yeah, so this is clearly the disadvantage that our army has because, well, when it has no ranged units whatsoever. If we had even a single one, they could have at least annoyed Malagor this entire time. Maybe when we're able to unlock the unique Ushabti unit. I forget that they're called Guardians of the Gods or something along those lines. When we unlock that, maybe we'll put them in Arkhan's army, at least temporarily, and just to get rid of flying units. Though on the other hand, by then perhaps Malagor will be gone, and we won't care about him anyway. And then the number of flying units will be limited. Then again, the Ushabti, that regiment of renown of Ushabti is very, very strong, so and there's still that to consider, but it could also act as a ringer for another army, because it's not like Arkhan's army really needs it. I'd get more fights to get views of these, like, the canopies of the trees there. But anyway, decisive victory for us, and probably not too much damage. One of our Tomb Guard got a little bit hurt because it got hit by Vile Tide repeatedly, but that's about it. Alrighty, that went pretty darn well. A little bit annoyed that Malagor just refused to land and sat up there for the entire battle, but what can you do? The Harpies escaped and Malagor escaped. I don't know whether we can or should chase them, because we are still going to want to try to get to Skarby, but we'll see. In terms of what we take here, we do need 1,000 canopic jars relatively soon, 500 to wake whichever the lord that gives us the control is, and then another 500 to get the architecture of the White Palace, which is quite significant. 1,200 money is good, and we do need a ton of money, but I think considering that we can't make good use of Endless March right now, but we might be able to make good use of it next turn to reach Skarbrand. Damn. I'd prefer the canopic jars, but I think we need the extra movement range right now, or we might need it, so I think we'll take the movement. Annoying though it may be. Only annoying because, you know, I'd rather have the canopic jars right now, but we'll get those jars. Enemy killed in battle, yes, we defeated Malagor, and this gives us a little bit of extra leadership, which is decent on the Vamps, but I would have rather had much more. Melee attack plus 10 when fighting against Beastmen. Melee attack plus 10 when fighting... Do we actually get plus 20 melee attack when fighting against Beastmen, or is this just duplicated for some reason? And why is this symbol orange, and why is this symbol red? What does that mean? I am so confused. And they're both, by the looks of it, for Arkhan, not for Lord's Army. Honestly, this is kind of a useless defeat trait. A little bit disappointed. Morgur has an amazing defeat trait. Malagor's defeat trait is trash. Well, oh well. And I just plain don't remember Khazrax. Cult of Osirian or Cultist of Osirian, great. We are going to take Arkhan. And I guess we can move very slightly further in March stance. Though whether it'll be far enough to reach this next turn, who knows. Let's go into March. Actually, reasonably far. I'm actually now hoping that Skarbrand can't reach us here, can he? Oh, wow, what? You're telling me this guy can move this far? Oh, Skarbrand could reach us. Well, actually, it's right on the edge. Oh, no, wait, but that's on the edge with him in Mnemonic Portal stance. Oh, it's campaign movement disabled. Oh, so why is it showing us a massive amount of movement? I honestly don't know how far they can move. Well, we're gonna risk it. You're going to go right... I mean, you're trying to go here, so you're gonna go here. And we're just going to hope. Also, you stick around. We need to keep you scouting the territory. Alrighty, well, we got a little bit more money. I'm not sure whether we actually need to build anything else at the current time. And we do not. Alright, well then we're good as we are. We should also probably switch these to the Dark Mounds, or the... whatever these called? Burial Mounds? Something. Gravekill. Ancient Burial Mound. Close enough. Maybe we'll do that, but for now, let's check diplomacy, and let's end the turn, and let's see if we can't get to Skarby. Karak Azul, everything else is fine. 1.8? Wasn't this just at like 2.9 or something, huh? Why would it drop off after we defeated Malagor? He's not fighting Malagor. Why would he want a defensive alliance less after we became stronger by weakening a faction that we're fighting? That's very strange. I'm not entirely sure what the mechanic is there. Huh. Because literally all that fight did was make us stronger. Well, whatever. Not important, I suppose. Arkhan, I guess it's time to start moving to Sun-Scorched Bones. Yeah, we'll get mileage out of the Curse of Years, but I feel like considering the number of units that we have that would benefit from this, it's time to get this. We'll get Curse of Years after. Next up, you, Tomb Prince. You have Air Command Dominance, so I guess it's time to move towards Desert Strike. Let's get you a Woundmaker, make it hit a little bit harder. We'll still do your armor afterwards as well. Alright, that looks good. Anybody else do anything or need to do anything? Ah, hit a bomb. I'm not forgetting you this time, buddy. Let's move you forward. Find us a Vlad. Hit bombs are good finders. And there we are. I guess we could delete him after he's found Vlad as well, and then replace him with somebody down here. We do need to put a lord or a mage into King Araru's army. Right now, pretty much everybody's mages are all wise as well, except you. But you're one that we're keeping, which is why. Also, I believe every single one of the pyramids, once built, gives us an extra amount of heroes, plus 1 hero capacity of all heroes, which is just fantastic, which is another reason we want to get these up as early as possible. Lots more canopic jar holders out of every single pyramid. We got an Eternal Tomb Prince, that's nice. It would be nice if we had capacity for that. Oh, but we're 1 out of 0, so we need +2 to actually make good use of that. And we got an Eternal Necrotect as well. I wonder, does anybody know, are you able to get heroes that are trustworthy, or is it only lords? Because if there are trustworthy heroes, we should probably try to get as many trustworthy heroes as possible. I'm just not sure whether that's actually a thing or not. Anyway, King Sanoct, we could level you up, and in fact we probably should. Arrows of Asaph maxed out for you and your ranged army. And let's also get to you, I guess, replenish troops. On the other hand, we'll probably level up after fighting, so maybe Joff's Incantation of Cursed Blades and Arrow's Protection, since we do use both of them quite a bit. Wait, you know what? Maybe 1 point into Tra's Incantation of Smiting for our Eyes of the Desert. A little bit on the expensive side. Is it worth the mana cost, though? I don't know, they have limited ammunition, so they could probably expend all of their ammunition in a single use of those. Just need to get another Sepulchral Stalker unit in here and we'll be good. Alrighty, well, let's skip the rest of this. Building upgrades available, we need to save money. Let's end the turn and let's see if Skarbrand can hit us. If he can... Nope, he did not. In fact, his little army ran away. Well, let's hope then that Arkhan can reach Gorgazan. Make a nice battle for us.
We may be able to
Silostra. I would love to ally with Silostra. I just still don't think she'll survive. If she gets like a very nice like stronghold, like a single nice stronghold, that's like a high level but also has a defensive structure, then we'll ally with her, because we can build our outpost there, and then hopefully it'll be so tough to take, especially with the attrition she causes around, that it might be worth our time. But right now it's not worth pissing off the Dark Elves in order to ally with a lord that may very well die. Alright, come on, end turn. We've got a Skarby to fight. And as I recall, Skarby had a pretty decent defeat rate, unlike Garbagor here. Faction destroyed Fulg, faction destroyed Crimson Skull, confederation between Kurun and Leoness. And are you just short of it? No, you are able to reach this. Beautiful. Alrighty, wait. Are you able to reach it to reinforce? Only in March stance, but nonetheless, it's good enough. I'll take it. I will absolutely take it. To Gorgazan we go. We can't put ourselves into the vampiric stance, but that's okay. This should weaken the faction considerably. Valiant defeat, you say. Alrighty, what are we facing off against? We got some Chaos Chariots. We've got Skarby himself, of course, with his 900 weapon strength. Yeah, that's gonna be a toughie. He's going to be extremely tough to bring down. Hopefully we can bog him down an infinite amount of troops while we kill his bloodletters. That's basically how we have to make this go. We can't have him attacking our Tomb Guard or anything like that, because he'll rip them apart. And our Tomb Prince can't duel him. He's too strong. Effect intensity increases with each kill made by the unit 500. Well, he's gonna get those 500 kills. He's fighting Tomb Kings, so yeah. Alrighty, we will get our second army to reinforce, however. So, you are gonna go into March stance. You're almost... wait, are you able to reach us in non-March stance? Wait, maybe you are. Oh, I hope I'm not wrong. It looks like he's able to reach this, but I can't quite tell. Is it at the edge of the enemy circle, or is it at the edge of Arkhan's circle? Man, alright, I hope I'm not wrong about this. Don't screw me on this game, please. It would be unfortunate. And are we in range? Yes, we are. Ooh, alrighty. We don't even have to be in the wrong sense. Oh, well. If it isn't Urkathel van de Mortem, why are you here? What are you doing here? You can't do anything by yourself. Oh, hello. Gorazin Dragonslayer, you're gonna reach Qatar, which did get its upgrade up and running. And oh, there's another lord here. Alrighty, well I guess that's something for Araru to do. In fact, this guy's unlikely to attack us. So what we could do is join you and you together. I know that's a loss of veterancy, but frankly I don't care that much. Let's do that. And... can we recruit any of these guys? Not in this place. We could get another Ushabti up and running. 4 Ushabti? Is this going to be our Ushabti army? I feel like physical resistance plus 5 could be quite useful for them. More physical resistance, make them even harder to kill. Alright, here's what we'll do. 1, 2. That looks good, and then we'll be able to get another ghoul, although the problem with that is, of course, the fact that we then... I mean, have to delete another unit, which I'm not so sure which one. Anyway, King Jokt, the question for you is what do you do and where do you go? If Gorazin goes for Qatar, you need to be there, but you also need to be in reasonable range of the Springs of Eternal Life. But we also need to be in reasonable range of Sudenburg in case Volkmar comes calling again. He will declare war on us in 3 turns. Oh wow, that's soon. Yeah, I don't like how tic-tac-toe is here. King Jog does want the defeat trait for this guy though. And oh, wait, you're in range of this. Huh. I wonder. If you can't reach the springs, we could back off. Yeah, but then the problem is Gorazin. I guess we could cancel this stuff and move Araru there. Okay, I see why you came here. Oh, man. Alright, I guess we have to stay around here then. Let's say right here. Right outside the springs. I hope that's in range. You know what? Maybe right here. And then channel. And then if this guy goes for Qatar, we should be able to at least reach it in March stance, I hope. It would be unfortunate to lose it. The garrison is trash, but our garrisons are in general trash. I hope he can't reach it in 1 turn, but if he can, we can't reach it anyway. Really, only you can, but if you leave this, we'll lose Numaz, so we lose something either way. Okay, well, I guess we'll see. I'll think about it. Maybe we should cancel this just in case. We could always re-recruit these guys. We only lose a turn. Well, that'll be something to decide next time, but this time it's time to fight Skarby. Now, this is obviously going to be a cinematic battle. Let's hope for a fun time. We also have 3 Chaos Spawn. Yeah, the monsters are going to be tough for us to bring down. Oh, but the regular Chaos Spawn don't do magical damage, so at the very least we can have our... Cairn Wraiths maybe pick them off over time. We shall see. Here we go.
My command.
Alrighty, here we go. I gotta say, I am very, very excited about this fight. A, because I love watching Coronate units fight, but B, because this should most definitely be a toughie, especially if the auto-resolve is to be believed. Though, you never know when it is and it isn't. Plus, it's Skarby. Skarby is pretty darn hard to bring down even in the early game, and he already hits for 972 without his buffs up, so he's pretty darn scary. On the other hand, we are acting with a second army, which should help out pretty darn immensely here, and Arkhan will be able to take advantage of the extra ranged units in bringing down all those single targets like Skarby and like all of the spawn of Khorne. I also really like the single unit spawn of Khorne, 680 weapon strength, and they've got some abilities as well, some explosions. Should be a fun time. Alrighty, now we have a tried and tested, well, at least once, strategy that we used before, and that seems to have worked out. And that strategy was when last time, I don't remember if it was the last episode or the episode before that, where we had the enemy with chariots and we moved around their flanks and hit those chariots with our lords and heroes while the rest of the army was distracted. We're gonna do the exact same thing here, except we have the Hex Wraiths to help out as well. Arkhan and the Necrotect and Hex Wraiths are all going to move in and go after those chariots, as well as the Blood Shrine, which I guess is a magic chariot as well. The bombardment will continue, and we'll be targeting the Chaos Warriors rather than the demons, because the Chaos Warriors should be a little bit slower. That's pretty much the only reason. And there we go, we got some chariot on chariot action here as Arkhan faces off against the chariots on the ground, the non-floating chariots. And you gotta give Khorne units credit where it's due, they have hats. And therefore, this is why we're actually having a battle where we have to work for it. At the very least, the Chaos Warriors have hats. Not so sure the Bloodletters are up to par. Or up to snuff, whatever. Alrighty, well, we've moved in with our Hex Wraiths. The enemy chariots are already in very bad shape, having dropped down to about half HP, and those Furies, while able to deal magical damage, are stuck between Arkhan, the Necrotect, and our summoned Skeleton Warriors and Zombies. So they are not able to apply all that extra magical damage to our Hex Wraiths, and thus fall without dishing out the damage. Hex Wraiths will continue running around, going after the chariots until they are either shattered or run off the field. Obviously, since this is a settlement battle, we don't really care whether they survive or not. And then as soon as they're done, they can get out. Arkhan summons another unit of raised dead zombies and drops them on the Chaos Warriors and Marauders of Khorne that are moving in to reinforce. And just to distract them so that they don't kill the Hat Wraiths, who are a little bit damaged at this point. Looks like we're also taking shots from the Skull Cannons here, which are actually 4 artillery pieces in SFO rather than the standard one, and thus probably quite a bit scarier. I wonder if there's still... Still got 120 armor and probably fairly effective in melee as well. In the meantime, while all this is happening, the main enemy army is moving towards us, though it looks like they've separated their demonic units, moving them out front, the Furies and the Bloodletters, the Hatless portion of their army, from the rest of their army, which has all of their Forsaken and their Chaos Warriors and Marauders, although some Bloodletters have stayed behind here as well. Surprising. I'm not entirely sure what the AI's concept here is. But well, we can just keep bombarding them. Though we are getting bombarded ourselves here, hopefully those shots don't do too much damage to Arkhan, though they do look like they are trying to focus him. You gotta love the spin to win on the Blood Shrines, though. Alrighty, and how are our Hat Wraiths doing? They've seen the chariots off and destroyed them, and are now going to move in and help with that Blood Shrine. Though, damn, that bombardment or the sniping going on from those Skull Cannons is quite annoying. I'm going to have to keep our Hat Wraiths healed up. Fortunately, the chariot is starting to dissipate. It is now unstable. We can move the Hat Wraiths away so that they don't take further damage while these two destroy the chariot. And then we can move on to the melee units here. In the meantime, we have the enemy Furies, which have drawn towards our main army, which is quite a lot. It's a fairly big army compared to what we are used to fighting with. Nice to bring a full stack as a reinforcement. And it looks like we'll knock at least one unit of enemy Furies out of the sky. Did I say Harpies earlier? Out of the sky before they can do anything. The other will drop down on our archers, but we can simply react to that with our Lord and Hero, as well as our Tomb Guard, which have stayed behind, and the same thing over on this side. Now we set up our army so that we do have our reinforcing army skeleton spears up front. The enemy are pretty scary in what they can achieve here, so we are going to keep these guys out front, and hopefully they will take the brunt of the damage, and then if they die, at least it won't be the Tomb Guard that are dead. Unfortunately, the damage to our skeleton warriors and zombies, the summoned units, appears to have been enough to activate the Realm of Souls, and this is a complete waste, as then our main line is not going to get any heals out of this. That said, we have managed to already destroy quite a few units on the flank here. It looks like the Chaos Warriors and the Marauders of Khorne are also in trouble, and the Hat Wraiths will be able to take them out. And although Arkhan and the Necrotect are both quite damaged, hopefully they'll survive. Alrighty. Main line now, looks like we got Bloodletters moving in. As soon as those Furies are done, we can start focusing on said Bloodletters. They've stopped in their tracks for a few seconds for some reason, though it might be because a unit of mortars or another artillery piece knocked a few units away and the unit was trying to regain cohesion. Oh man, those Casket of Soul shots against the blood red sky look absolutely glorious. And there we go, those Bloodletters are moving in, but they're absolutely getting focused down by all of our ranged units. These skeleton warriors that got summoned do dissipate, but so do the enemy lose a few of their units of Bloodletters in order to achieve that. And the second one should fall shortly. As we can see, we've also switched targeting. 4 of our units of skeleton archers are targeting the spawn of Khorne, which has already lost half of its HP, and the other 4 are going to target Skarbrand directly. We can't let him stay here, so we're going to do our best to make sure he dies before he can achieve too much. The other unit of spawn of Khorne we are going to go after with our Lord and Hero, although it does look like the first one will get ripped apart by our ranged units in a couple of volleys. Down it goes. Very, very quick. Yeah, these things are extremely vulnerable to range fire. If they're dying to unupgraded units of range, which are fairly weak, it's unsurprising. I mean, it is surprising. The opposite of what I said. Alrighty, well, Skarbrand is still fighting, though who knows for how much longer, as he's only got about 20%, maybe 15% HP left. 4 units focusing him down, and the Eyes of the Desert, who not only are firing at him with their ranged weapons, but are also upgraded with the Tra's incantation of Righteous Smiting for a little bit more. Can't have Skarby stay there. And down he goes. Way too much range fire. The shotgun blast from the Eyes of the Desert may have been slightly wasted on that, but the faster Skarby died, the better for us. We've also obviously summoned our Shabti here in the center line, and they're serving the purpose of blocking off these skull cannons so that they can't reach our second line. And that said, some of the enemy will reach it as the skeleton spears that were out front die, and it will be the Tomb Guard that have to hold off the rest of the enemy. We are also now switching our targeting as the rest of the spawn have fallen, or the other second one has fallen, towards the enemy chariots as well as the enemy magical chariots. The mortars continue to do work, and it's very nice to have 2 artillery pieces, and our reinforcements have also finally arrived. And I don't mean our reinforcements from off the field, but the ghouls and the dire wolves, as well as Arkhan in the lead together, who had looped around the enemy and had taken quite a while to do so. Looks like the rest of the enemy have been destroyed in the background, and the battle is pretty much ours. There we go. The enemy Bloodletters are shattered. The Khornate warriors are fighting their last, or otherwise running away. And we've got this. Alrighty. Certainly our first front line buckle do. There we go. Nice effect on those spawn of Khorne. I really like that. And the burning head and then the explosion. The charge looked kind of silly though. Alrighty, and here come the Sepulchral Stalkers to hopefully bring it down. I assume these are unbreakable just like the regular spawn of Khorne are. And there we are. Technically, we don't need to chase anything down at all, so we are just going to end the battle in a few seconds, just waiting a couple extra seconds while the Realm of the Dead, or not the Realm of the Dead, the healing from our Lore of Nehekara is active, as we did bring that second Lich Priest. And there we go. Alright. Certainly took a lot of effort, or a lot more effort than certain other battles in recent times, but it's not surprising against the Khornate faction. Specifically, the Chaos Warriors of Khorne are going to be tough to take out, as we do somewhat lack armor piercing in all of our armies. It's one of the reasons I wanted to destroy these the Greybeard's Prospectors early in the game. Tomb Kings early certainly have trouble with armored units, and like those dwarfs, we're going to have a little bit of trouble with the units of Khorne. And nonetheless, with Skarbrand's army destroyed and this territory taken, hopefully we can keep our momentum and destroy or take over more of their settlements before they can recover and send another army out. Alrighty, there we go. It certainly wasn't a defeat. We did, however, lose some units. The skeleton spears that were in the front line did die, but they died for a good cause, which was activating our Realm of the Dead and holding the enemy back. Unfortunately, our Necrotect fell as well. I lost track of him because there were frankly a lot of units to control at the same time, and apparently, I guess he died reasonably quickly when fighting together with the Hexrays. Probably got surrounded and killed by one of the units of the Chaos Warriors with halberds, whichever one. That said, we can always just get a new Necrotect because we have the capacity, and while it is a loss of levels there, we can hopefully get another one with a good trait. Now, we got an okay amount of money. We got a spell shield, which is frankly kind of meh, but it's something. And we are obviously going to occupy the place. Oh, lovely. Mission successful for the Awakened. Oh, I should have double-checked if there were more missions, and it looks like we got 2 missions. Kagatev killed in battle, spell shield, and what do we have? Blood Quencher. Weapon strength plus 10, charge bonus for army. Oh, that'll help. That will help our hex rates quite a bit. And enemy weapon strength reduction as well. Nice. It is a much, 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 much better trait than that of Malagor. I'm also still disappointed that Malagor didn't come down from the sky to actually give us a fight. But what can you do? Anyway, with that, unfortunately, nice battle. We are out of time, and I am going to have to call the episode here. Next time, we probably try to defend some stuff, as I do imagine these guys are still going to push up north, especially with our quote-unquote allies backing away from all of this. We will, however, have King Jock down here, and then once Arkhan has moved towards Agrul Migdal, we can send King Araru southwards. Maybe even we want to cancel the Ushabti just so that he can go southward next turn. And just rebuild these 2 guys. And the Skeleton Spears. Yeah, I think that's what we'll do. We'll send him south, maybe to deal with the dwarfs, and we'll still need to deal with those dwarfs, though I'm still of a mind to potentially farm Grump Slayer, because it's so good. Either way, it looks like we'll be getting at least one more Khorne fight next episode, wherein we attack Agrul Migdal. The question is, I guess, whether we proceed to attack them, or whether we focus on destroying Malagor before he can come back again. That's another possibility. Plus, Sanok can grab Stormhenge and Galbaraz, and then maybe even loop around towards Death Gorge so that we can meet with Arkhan there and attack it together. At which point we will be bordering with the Skaven, and probably they'll attack us, because I wouldn't be surprised. We remain pretty surrounded by enemies, actually, but we still have a decently defensible position over here around the Great Desert of Araby, though that depends on when or if. No, it's definitely when the Cult of Sotek sails over and attacks us instead. Anyway, more Arkhan to come, so stay tuned. Don't forget to leave a like and comment. All glory to the algorithm. And thanks for watching.